Is AJ going to take the step aside fee? Should he take the step aside fee? Great question. Will Dillian Whyte also take a step aside fee? Would he want to take a step aside fee and potentially waste another year waiting for that WBC belt? Also, is Gareth A. Davis a reliable source when it comes to AJ news? Let's talk about this. Yo guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're not done already, subscribe to Off the Canvas Boxing, like the video, do all that amazing stuff. We have some breaking news, we have some huge news. Whether it's true or not, we'll decipher it for ourselves. But according to Gareth A. Davis, Anthony Joshua is to accept a £50 million step aside fee and step aside for Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk fight. AJ is close to accepting a £50 million step aside fee that will pave the way for Alexander Usyk to fight Tyson Fury in an undisputed heavyweight title bout in the Middle East. Oh, interesting. In the Middle East. Do I believe this to be true? This is to the extent where I believe this is true. I believe that Team AJ have received an offer of up to £50 million for the step aside fee from Saudi Arabia or from the Middle East. Whether they accepted that, I don't necessarily think so. I heard it from Eddie Hearn where he said last week, whereby there's been people who are very, very interested in the Alexander Usyk versus the Fury fight, and I kind of read between the lines in saying that was the Middle East and they were happy to stage that fight. But he never mentioned anything like there's been a sizable deal that's come to the table that he's given to AJ that they're considering. Nothing along those lines. So to my understanding, I think a step aside fee probably was put on the table, but whether it was accepted was another story. Unless overnight AJ has a change of mind, I highly disagree with this, especially based on the interview that he had with Kugan Cassius. You know, the confusing one in Dubai when he was in the car, based on what he was saying, where for him to agree a deal, it has to meet the three criteria, and whether he's a throwback fighter, whether the money is 100% correct, whether it was whether it's made, the other one was whether it made sense for his legacy. I don't think this is a part of that. But do I think that AJ should take a step aside? Yes, I do. I don't say it because I think that if they were to do the fight in May or June, that Alexander Usyk is going to do the exact same thing. I do not agree that, because I think AJ is going to come, if he were to fight in May, June against Usyk, he will come with a different approach, and that approach would be perfect for him to beat Alexander Usyk, and I have full faith that he will probably do it. But the reason why I want him to prolong that fight, to have maybe added fights in between against maybe top level opposition who are skilled fighters. We're talking fighters who are not necessarily have the maximum power, but have the footwork, the ring IQ, the ability to run around the ring to kind of dazzle AJ, and for AJ to stick to a certain game plan, is because it gives him reassurances that he will beat Alexander Usyk come when they meet in the next fight. And it also means if he does come up against either Alexander Usyk or Tyson Fury, or either the winner, he is fighting for an undisputed fight. So whether Fury wins against Usyk, which I think that probably Fury will beat Usyk, but let's just say Fury beats Usyk and AJ agrees to fight in the winner. For AJ, it's perfect for him because he can fight and become an undisputed, because I think he'll beat Tyson Fury. Alexander Usyk will be more than open to taking the rematch because it's added incentive for him. It makes more sense for all parties involved for AJ to do this step aside. The problem is, it's not necessarily with Team AJ, it's with Dillian Whyte, because Dillian Whyte is the mandatory for Tyson Fury. That mandatory was called by the WBC. I think it was towards the back end of last year. That mandatory was called, and the purse bid, to my understanding, is happening this Wednesday, which is the 26th, I believe. So it's happening this Wednesday, the 26th of January, is when purse bids will be commencing. Okay, even if it's a deal or no deal, well, if there's a deal, then they'll proceed with the deal. But if there's no deal, their purse bid's happening this Wednesday. So if they were to do, let's just say AJ accept the £50 million step aside fee, you would have to offer Dillian Whyte a step aside fee. And based on how Dillian Whyte's been approaching over the last couple of years, I really highly doubt that he would accept the step aside fee, knowing that if he doesn't take this fight, by the time it comes round to him, number one, who is going to fight for that undisputed for that WBC belt? Probably is going to be an undisputed champion. And if let's just say it's Fury, and let's say Fury beats Usyk, and let's say Fury beats Anthony Joshua, what's to say that Fury by that stage won't retire? And that's going to be that's going to be what, 2 fights ahead, like 2 fights in the future, which is another year, maybe another year and a half. And that by that stage, Dillian Whyte won't be anywhere near his prime anymore. He'll be on a decline. Right now, he's in his prime condition of his career. So he needs to take the fight like this year. That he needs to get his world title shot this year. Otherwise, whether he steps aside or not, he won't be fighting in peak position, physical peak condition. Okay, so if Saudi are going to put the money up, £50 million for AJ, we're looking at probably £7 to £10 million for Dillian Whyte, just step aside. And this is a huge inconvenience. So, like, we're talking about a gentleman who's been waiting over, I would say, 3 years for the WBC title shot, who has been pushed aside from the WBC, from mandatory being taken and mandatory being delayed for an extra couple of years, to other people like Dominic Brazil and Luis Ortiz getting ahead of him with regards to another title shot. He will be aggrieved that is being taken away from him. So you almost have to pay for compensation on top of that. And with the WBC going into court with Dillian Whyte, it's all a bit of a mess. But I really hope that, I hope that this is true to an extent. And I know what people are saying with regards to whether AJ will be seen as weak by taking this step aside if he were to take it. I don't necessarily agree. I believe that that will show a sign of strength in recognizing maybe the work that you have to do, and almost acting a little bit more safety first than way too risky. Because in AJ's career, it's been risk after risk after risk. From the Olympics, he started boxing 2 years later. He was in the Olympics, and then he won the gold medal, and then he kind of rushed throughout his career with high level risk. I think if he does this should probably be better for his career going forward, because he could be, like, imagine fighting Fury or Usyk for an undisputed fight, and by that stage you can have 6 to maybe even 12 months with a new trainer, with a new coach, with a new mental coach to work on your head. And Fury, if it were to be Fury, will be a lot more slower, a lot more older. Usyk is around 30. I don't think Usyk is going to go on a decline until the next 3-4 years anyway. But if Fury ends up being Usyk, I think AJ could become undisputed. And if that's AJ's goal, and to maintain that level, that's perfect. Like that is all. I'm 100% fine with this. But regarding the validity of this source regarding Gareth A. Davis, now I think Gareth A. Davis is an amazing individual, but I don't think that this is necessarily true. I don't think this is true to the letter. I think this is true to an extent, and that's in my opinion with regards to this. But you know what? I'd like to know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys agree with what I'm saying. Let me know if you guys think AJ should take a step aside. Whether you guys think that Dillian Whyte should also take a step aside on top of that. Is it worth the money from the Saudis? Because that's something I would want to ask especially to you guys. Do you guys think if you're the Saudi or Middle Eastern, are they oligarchs? Sheikhs, okay? Because oligarchs, when I think about the head oligarch, I always think Russian, but the wealthy individuals in the Middle East, is it worth their money for them to do all of this? Because I would say it's a bit more easier for Fury to face White, AJ to face Usyk again, and then the winner face each other. It's a little bit more simpler, a little bit more easier for everyone involved. This kind of it's a bit messy in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys disagree with me? And I'll see you in the next video. Okay, peace and prosperity. I'm gonna catch you guys in a bit. Peace.